All right, I think everything should be set up. Okay, welcome, welcome. Gonna go ahead and start us off on a game. Doing some Marlin today. Let's see how it goes. I went on like a tear Saturday night. Or no, it was Friday night. With this deck, so kind of a bit helpful. I think there's like some interesting ideas that I've got here. Um, Mostly I think inspired by like the Taylor Crawford like pseudo list. I think those are two really good lists right now. Let's see how it goes. This is my own personal list. There's some little trims that I do. Um, Mostly like minor differences. I think like the main one is that up until now I haven't been running battering bolts. I'm gonna try the two battering bolts today and see how that goes. Okay, playing against Slippy. So I think we use the Arachne board, but I think against Marionette specifically you want King Kraken. In which case, I'll give them a good luck, have fun. I think you can actually like make an argument for cutting the battering bolts. I could also see like going down a 2 Tarpit Trap in this deck. Maybe we can also like afford to cut the Loan Sharks and like just run the Lace. Let's try something like this. I'm not 100% sure. But typically Marionette does run a bit more, I guess, non-attacks than just like normal Slippy does. All right, this is a pretty good hand, so we can just start off with the port side. And then just reload our Harpoon, make a new gold Arsenal Tipple. Seems pretty good. We also get free hook, which is nice. So I'd say a pretty good start. Seems like they're going to be able to mostly block it. We got the Scar Tissue, Take Up the Mantle, and Bonds. Okay. Can't say I complain, though. We get 3 gold to start off on turn 1 plus 2 damage, and we get their entire hand. I think that's a pretty reasonable trade. Oh, this hand's nice. How much of this hand we'll be able to keep is anyone's guess, but like even if we end up just like losing our arsenal, we can just keep like 3 Oak plus Lace plus King Shark, and that's a really good hand. Yep, so it looks like we're just going to lose our arsenal here. Not the end of the world. Oh, Tegan, do you want to put out the stream?
I already did.
Oh, cool. Tegan's on top of it. All right. CNC coming in. We don't care. I don't think. I think we're just fine keeping this hand. All right, so we start with the Lace, and then we're just going to rip the 3 Oak. And we hit, which is excellent. I think we're pitching the pre-meds just so we can hold on to the Codex. Oh, sorry, whoops. Maybe passed a little bit too quickly there. All right, 3 Oak. Pass. I wish these like Marlin activations like went away, so I didn't have to like spam click it. Okay, now we do this. We did not make a goal this turn, so we would be potentially losing our hook there, so I don't think we should activate. 13's quite nice. I'd say this is a pretty good game to start it off with, though. Like, I feel like we've hit a pretty decent little high roll here. Alright, so we hit the Lace and the King Shark. Let's hope we reveal something here. Alright, Kiss of Death versus Bonds. That's annoying. So, is it annoying, though? I feel like we just, like, take the Bonds, right? Thinking, like, Savor Bloodshed plus Kiss of Death. Which is fine. They, like, in that case would have to, like, Flick Knives us. I feel like it's just better to not leave them with Bonds, right? I think that makes sense. Alright, this hand also really good. Actually, I guess it leaves a little bit to be desired. We don't really want the King Shark, I feel like, because we have Codex. But otherwise, I think this is fine. We have Tuna counter coming up, so if we rip a blue off the tipple, then we can just send another 16 damage. Seems like a really good turn cycle. Okay, it's coming in for 7. They flick the dagger at us. They draw a card. They have a blue here. And then they have 1 unknown card in arsenal. So I don't think there's any way we're realistically blocking this. So we'll just let them have their free card draw. I think that's fine. I wonder how like good an average slippy or like marionette or slippy card draw is. It's pretty good in general. Like I feel like you can roughly equate that to like 3-ish value. It's pretty good. All right, so blue in hand, 2 unknown cards. All right, so they drew the up sticks, which is fine. So maybe ending on Codex here. Should not even be that bad for us. I mean, it would be a little bit bad because we get the -1 debuff, but we can just like block 4 on Leave No. It seems good. Or they don't even have a Leave No yet, so they're just getting like Kiss. I think we're still not supposed to block here. Well, let me make sure I have chat up. Oh, hello. Yo, what's up? All right, and pass is good. Okay, so starting off with the tipple. I'm just trying to think if there's like a sequence here. I don't think there really is too much to think about. We might actually, depending on what we draw, get a little bit greedy and try to cycle towards another buff. We're definitely starting out with tipple. I think we actually do. Question is, do we want to put the gold baited hook on tipple so that it clears the way for like a king shark, or do we want to put the gold baited hook activation on what comes after tipple? So if we put it on tipple, that rips a block card from their hand. I feel like there's like pros and cons to doing it one way or the other. I feel like honestly, I'm maybe leaning towards this harpoon is going to already be pretty big, so I think it's likely to hit. So in that case, we should just play the tipple first. All right, another take game is awkward. We have some gold that we're sitting on though, so I won't even say this is that bad. All right, I imagine they're maybe flipping into Black Widow. That makes sense. So now we close chain. So we could theoretically just codex off of this if we wanted to, but I think we should get a little bit greedy with the gold and just try to draw towards some blues. We have at least 2 looks, even if we draw a red here. All right, we drew a red. That's unfortunate. So now the question is there a way to salvage this? We can do... I feel like we need to just keep drawing. Like, I feel like we just need to rip multiple blues in a row. And that's maybe our answer. Alternatively, we can... I feel like we need to at least rip 1 blue. So I think we're pitching the king shark here. And if we draw a blue, there's a question of whether or not we just like pump into the hammerhead or we try to redraw into it. All right, so we drew 1 blue. That's nice. Now I think we try to go for at least 1 more. Interesting. Yeah, I think we try to go for at least 1 more so we can at least play like the pre-med or the take game on something. Because every blue we draw means that we get a little bit closer, but unfortunately we didn't draw it here. So now we have to go to 1, or we have to use the last gold just to break even. Oh, this feels bad. Maybe that was a little bit too risky. We did also draw a lot of reds in a row, but a little unfortunate there. Could also just send a big harpoon. The only problem is we'd have to like discard one of our things to codex. Well, it's a little bit sad. So I guess the question is like overpower versus this. I think we're discarding a buff here. Little unfortunate. But going to 0 gold is like pretty rough. All right, we'll grab, I guess, our king shark because they're more likely to have like an all action hand or all attack action hand. But we might be getting wrecked this turn depending on what they have. A little bit of unfortunate draws, but I think I maybe played a little bit too risky there. We'll see. Maybe our fail state was like a little bit rough that hand. I think we also probably should throw in the gold bait hook there. Marlin, Labubu to fall asleep to. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I also don't know where we came up with this stream title name. We're joking about it would be really funny to get Brody Spurlock to do a Labubu tier list. Just as like a joke. Like this, it doesn't have anything to do with Brody really. It's just that I think that would be a hilarious thing to watch. But yeah, that's where the stream inspiration came from. So they have a scar tissue in hand. So I feel like the correct block here is to just like full block this, and then just like take an off turn. We're going to be taking a ton of damage, but I think this is fine. So we block with like the port side. Do we even hold on to the premeditate? Yeah, that's where the stream inspiration came from. So I think we're just like full blocking here because they have the scar tissue in hand. Like it doesn't really matter. Like they're basically gonna rip our hand no matter what we do. Oh my god, this sand is insane. What the hell? All right. Well, I'm glad we full blocked it, even though blocking effectively meant that we couldn't, or like blocking didn't actually even help us there. Classic assassin. Yeah, I'd say it feels rough blocking Kiss of Death, but we didn't really have an option because they're gonna like take our entire hand anyways. That's a pretty good hand. Double Tarantula Toxin plus Scar, or I guess they discarded the Scar Tissue, but same thing. Damn, that is a good draw. Okay, guess we just pass. This hand's pretty good if we can just like hold 2 blues. Hoping they have a little bit of a brick turn here. They like just send like dagger CNC, we can kind of deal with that pretty easily. Alright, cut from same cloth is fine, although that's like a lot of damage. It's pretty rough. I think if we don't brick that one turn, we do a lot better. Like if we can maybe rip just like a bigger harpoon there. Alright, this isn't that bad. We do need to block at least a little bit here, so I think we're actually supposed to give a blue here. Let ourselves get marked, and then assuming that they're gonna like end on like a CNC here, we have like 6 block here plus the blue fin, and then we can set into King Kraken. I think that's the best play. We also just like need to make sure we're not like dying. So I think blocking here like makes sense in terms of just getting a little bit of health soaked up. Alright, Orb Weaver. Yeah, looking like a pretty wide turn. We've seen 2 Tarantula Toxins. Ooh, and a Mark of the Black Widow. Oh. Alright, coming in for 7, so now we have to give up Tunic, which is not the end of the world. If they have a way to pump over this, I think we just lose. Cool. Don't lose on the spot, that's nice. Alright, so we're gonna go bait hook because we kind of need to at this point. And then I think we're just firing off the Hammerhead. I feel like we do have some outs here, like in terms of like Tarpit Trap or something. We're also at least demanding a piece of armor here, and we maybe get to rip a card. Yeah, that Kiss of the turn was like crazy. They basically got 12 value off just Tarantula Toxins. It's kind of insane. Okay. So this is good. All right, Sink Blow. So we get him down to 2 cards. I think if we rip like a 3-oak here, that could put us pretty well into the game. The Funnel Web is not going to matter this turn. I find it hard to imagine they're going to be able to present like enough damage to force through a block. So I think we might actually be okay. This hand needs help though. Oh, we're getting Justinicked. Oh, this is so sad. Well, I guess they also can just rip the Persuasive. What happens if we just say no blocks on this and just YOLO? I feel like YOLO actually might be correct. Because if they Justinick, this is fine. Like, there's a chance they hit a red off the top and then we just, like, don't care. I feel like YOLO is the best. Like, just no blocks on this. Because there's no efficient way to block, right? Yeah, I'm gonna say no blocks. They have Justinick. That's probably worst case scenario, but if they just Funnel Web, I think I'm fine with that. Alright, they flick a dagger. Starting point. Interesting. Mate Codex. Alright, unfortunately they had a yellow. A little unfortunate, but that's not the end of the world. Oh, another persuasive. Oh, that hand was gross. Well, do we yellow on this one now? I feel like we kind of have to, right? Like, if we're just blocking, does this actually help? I don't know that it actually does. Alright, hit both times. Unfortunate. I feel like there was an argument there to, like, they hit a red, then we're like, this is basically not an on-hit. But maybe I was wrong. So... I think we just lose, right? Yeah. Oh, 3 up top, that's not bad. Assuming we can live, but a little doubtful. Oh, yellow Spinneret, that's a card I feel like I don't see very often. So we have 6 damage here, plus 1 from the clave. We need to block at least with 2 cards. Wait, what am I missing? Oh, this is a stealth, right? So they can put it on the stagger. So I think we just need to drop. We drop to 3 here. We can maybe block with like the golden tip, or maybe block with like the take game is probably better. Nasty. All right, 8. So that will strip our hand. Oh, we're just like dead on board, right? Okay. Yep, seems good. Yeah, they had some pretty sick draws there. I feel like we also just like bricked really bad. But such is playing Marlin. Let's see if we can get another. Oh, actually, we might do the deck tech. Oh, let's do one more before we do the deck tech. Give them a good game too. Yeah, let's run it back one more time. Yeah, but this is the deck list we're running today. I think it's very similar to a lot of the decks that I think his name was like Pseudo and Taylor Crawford have been kind of cooking up. Yeah, such as a life into assassin. I feel like our high roll or their high roll just like was significantly better than anything we were doing. But yeah, this is a deck that is mostly inspired by like Taylor Crawford and like Pseudo's list. So it's like basically a very like 30 bluish list. I think I've also had this be like 31 blues with like the hamstring shot. But the idea here is to be kind of just like very aggressive into a lot of things. And I still like the pumps a lot. All right, so first or second in Yarl. I feel like going first is actually good because I think this is actually like one of the rare Skullbone matchups. Skullbone could give you quite a bit of value. Bring in the Lone Shark, the Riches. I think we also do Bat Deck a little bit. Run the Tipples. I think Battering Bolts are unnecessary. I think we just Fat Deck just a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Assassin's always like that, right? Where it's just like, we kind of just got owned by like a really solid, like just very red line play. Okay, so we're gonna lace with 3 oak and then just fire off a random harpoon. Oh, so this is looking like that new. I was watching a little bit of the Calling Copenhagen. This is looking like that, like the Jason Rolf list. That's running like Rampart, which is kind of cool. So it looks like they're probably gonna be more on like fatigue. The Yarl matchup's like not actually that bad. At least I don't think it's that bad. Okay, we just get to fire off a Yellowfin. That's fine. Send some good overpower on turn 1. But I don't think this matchup's really that bad. Like, we don't really care much about them breaking our equipment. And we do just have like a lot of fatigue staying power. Running balance, which is interesting. I think makes sense. Gives you some extra kind of blocking equity into gravy. Oh, they're even on like Righteous Cleansings. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, so this is looking like that new kind of like fatigue Yarl list. I don't know how new it is, I guess. Oh, they also had to block with the Righteous Cleansing. That's kind of funny. So yeah, they starting with the CLF. That's also fine. If they play a CLF on next turn, it's going to be awkward with the take game in Arsenal, but we can maybe work around it. All right, this hand's good. See our riches early, which is nice. Yeah, I don't think this matchup's actually that bad. Like, CNC is pretty good. So I think we just like need to block this, unfortunately. Yeah, aesthetic is definitely better than function. I think that's one of the cons of playing Marlin. So what are we doing here? I feel like portside exchange, load the Redfin, let the take game go, or alternatively, is there anything we can do if we like block here? We can actually just like fire off a Redfin. Oh, hold on. I'm kind of hopeful for a new Marlin card too. We'll see. I think we just block 6 here and we just like send a kind of like weak Redfin. I think that's fine. I don't want to give equipment this early. They have the pummel, but I don't think this deck actually runs pummel. Alright, let's go for the take game. Get our opt value. Ooh, 3-up's good opt. And then just, I guess we can force through the gold because we're going to pitch the riches. So now they have to give us 2 cards here at least. Alright, so we do need to be a little bit concerned about fatigue this game. But going off an Arsenal is kind of nice in the Yarl. So I think this is like a non-Earth Yarl from what I understand. Which is kind of a cool take. Yeah, I agree that Marlin definitely is like one of those heroes that needs a new card. I think Yarl also kind of like needs a new card. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen him kind of get anything. Oh boy, we're getting 6 life here. Kind of, I'm like not fine with this, but I'm also kind of fine with this. They're giving like 3 cards plus balance to a Redfin Harpoon. Probably not supposed to be that upset about it. They are going to go back up to 40, which is a little unfortunate, but... Oh, interesting. We're giving the Rampart now. So how does the Rampart help? Shouldn't they... I think they should just be giving the balance anyways. Unless they want to filter... Huh, interesting. So they do go back up to 39, but we did force the balance at least. And we have a 3-up next turn, which is nice. But yeah, we're all like full on fatigue. Yep, seems good. No complaints from my end. So I put the Riches also back in the deck for this reason. I was playing against some like fatigue decks on Talishar last night, and I do think that the Riches does help a lot in those matchups. Arsenal the Kraken. I think we're gonna Arsenal the Bluefin over the Lace. I think that makes sense. Yeah, Fiddlers is kind of a hilarious card. I agree. I think we're pitching Lace and Arsenaling the Bluefin, right? Makes sense to me. And we also might get a different Arsenal depending on our Ponder. Seems good. I missed the opportunity to... Oh, we didn't have an Arsenal, right? So Skullbone. Alright, I want to make sure I'm not missing my Skullbone activation. I know people get a little upset at me about that. Okay, so this is like the first time I'm actually seeing this list in full, so I'm kind of curious like what cards. So we saw Remembrance and Pitch. Righteous Cleansing is definitely a spicy one. I'm curious to see if we can beat this deck, because there is, I think, a lot of D-Reacts in this deck. Like, I think there's Fate Foreseen and Sync is at least what I've seen. I don't know if they're running an Earth package, though. Like, I think there might just be, like, a no Earth cards. Which does make sense into some decks, I think. Okay, Staunch. Ooh, we might be in trouble here. Yikes. Oh, boy. The joys of playing Marlin. Oh, we get to hit, though, at least, which is nice. I was not expecting to be able to hit off of this. All right, Glacial Footsteps and a Sync Blow. So Hammer, Arsenal. Seems good. Do at least get our Ponder token. I feel like Portside actually might be a better Arsenal than the Bluefin, because it lets us like cycle our gold. And we can threaten another thing. The Tipple makes that a bit more awkward. We do have a Sunken Treasure target if we want to go for that. It's probably not bad. right? Yeah, we can even... Yeah, we have a lot of things we can do. So I think the Sunken does make sense here. Just start kind of farming some gold. Mostly, yeah, I think it's because of they don't really have a ton of equipment. I think that's why flexors are typically used. I kind of, at least in like the more earthy Yarl that I run, I typically like actually running civic steps just because like that list is very like a lot more, I guess, like red line than you would expect from other Yarl lists. So it kind of, at least it makes sense to me to run that and over quick dodge, because like you want to make sure that like if you have a play that you're not like pitching a blue, and the value proposition is like very similar, where you're like basically like quick dodge turns a blue 3 block into a blue 6 block functionally, which is like +3 value, same thing as like civics, but civics you could give like quicken tokens, so there's like pros and cons. Anyways, so gold here, I think we're like arsenaling the tipple. Yeah, so this makes sense. We're hoping to hit a blue off the top. So we port side, and then hope to hit a blue, load the blue fin. Nice. Get our little bit of value here. I wonder if we should start fat decking maybe even a little bit more into Yarl. Might make sense. Especially if they're going to be on more like staunch type stuff. If we get a crumble out of them, I'm kind of happy with that too. Oh, so we know they have a sink below in Arsenal, so they're going to be able to block this. I guess if we can just keep them off of like disruptive plays, I think that's a good spot to be in, just so that we can like keep developing out. Not gonna say developing out. Keep playing out our good cards and not like have to like block a ton. Alright, so there's a sink, 2-card hand. Worst case scenario is like CNC or something, but we've already seen one. Chokeslam would, I guess, also be annoying if they're on some number of those, but I actually don't know what the list really looks like. Alright, back up to 40. Terrifying. Alright, double tipple is awkward. So I feel like we maybe are supposed to like just block with one of these port side exchanges. Maybe we're supposed to block with like hamstring, just like stay a little bit healthy, because I feel like we're gonna have enough resources to do probably whatever we want this hand, especially with the eye. And then we can just like try to arsenal the other tipple. I think this makes sense. So I'm hoping to hit a big harpoon like a king shark or a king kraken. I guess both would be fine. Codex would also be fine. So we start by opting with the skull bone. Is lace a good draw? I don't think so. So we bottom that, and now we crack gold, and we tipple from Arsenal with the eye. So we're gonna get a lot of op value here, which is nice. Draw a loan shark and that. I feel like we're supposed to get greedy. There's a way we get punished here, though. Is loan shark good enough on its own? I don't know that it is. Like, we're bottoming an arrow, which also feels really bad. How much gold are we sitting on? We're sitting on 1. Or we're gonna refresh it here. I think we're supposed to just keep bottoming. We have like 5 big harpoons in the deck, and we also have a fail state of just drawing one of our other 2-cost harpoons. So I think this is fine. Obviously a bit awkward, but there's also, I guess, like a world where we just like play tipple, like another tipple, and put the hook on it. Bolt and shot will have to do, I guess. So we can like load this, play tipple, do something. So maybe we should have put the gold bait hook on that. That would have been better. I guess they're gonna block it regardless, so I don't think we're losing a ton of value there. So let's now hammerhead, and then just send in the bolt and shot. It's like kind of okay. I think we just want to make sure we're like hammerheading every turn if we can. Midas touch is interesting. I imagine that's just for fatigue value. feel like there is a world where they're maybe scared of Codex. Okay, they're gonna give us box here, that's fine. Alright, fatigue game is not looking great at this point, but I think in the long run we're still gonna be fine. Drawing tipples with the big game trophy shots is... Oh, we're also one card off of with the King Kraken there. Unfortunate. Not the end of the world. So I think we're gonna just... Alright, so I think at like a macro level, what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to assume that this life doesn't matter and the cards that we have matter more. In which case, we should just be trying to rip as much damage as possible every turn and not care about our own life total. I feel like this game is not going to be determined by health or damage. It's going to be determined by life total, I assume. So let's start with the Skull Bone here. I feel like more than likely we're going to just be pitching the big game trophy shot. All right, Gold Tip is actually, I think, a fine draw. We can do 2 here, load. I think that's fine, because if we draw a red, we don't want that. So I think that's acceptable. Crack this. So I think we're gonna try to distribute the damage. Or no, we're not gonna put the gold hook on the tipple. I think we're gonna do this instead. So we have 2 here, 2 here. We're gonna be drawing into another 2 resources, and then we can load the King Kraken and just fire that off. I think this makes sense. Just sending 13 is good. We can be a little disruptive too, that's fine. I'm most worried about the second Staunch. I'm assuming there's like probably multiple copies of Staunch, right? That would be kind of spooky. I think we're just going to try to preserve some threat density in second cycle with the big game trophy and the gold to tip. And then the tipples are being a little bit awkward right now just because like we've drawn multiples in succession alongside the big game trophy shot. I think we just want to make sure that with the whoops, sorry, we should be putting the gold bait hook here. All right, whatever, might not even matter. But yeah, we probably should have hooked that. That's my bad. All right, so cranial crush with footsteps. They might have missed the undo. That's fine. Okay, let's arsenal tipple. So we should be at 1 more gold. That's my bad. This next hand looks pretty good. Ooh, a righteous cleansing. How much do we care about this? They get to take 1 good card out of the top 5. If they hit 2 codexes, we like lose on the spot. But is that a risk that we are supposed to be taking? I feel like that is a risk that we have to take, right? Is that they just don't hit like double codex or like triple codex. That would be bad. I feel like we pitched one early on, so I feel like the chances of that happening are pretty low. I feel like we're just saying no blocks here. Let's see how good this righteous cleansing is. I might just get like absolutely rolled by this. So yeah, this is looking more like the fatigue style kind of Yarl. So minor misplay on the last turn. We should be at 3 gold here instead. I feel like this deck is a lot harder to like play on Talishar. At least like I feel like when I'm playing this deck in like paper, it's a lot better. All right, they hit just a big game trophy shot. I think that's a good fail state because we just bottomed a big game trophy shot, so they can't hit like multiple. They also didn't see any like 3 oaks, so I guess we played 2 3 oaks already. All right, start with the Skullbone. Get some opting done. Is Bluefin a good draw? I think the answer is yes. Yep, that's perfect. So we're gonna start doing that. So we have to pull Tunic this turn, but that's fine. Yeah, Righteous Cleansing is an interesting one. I mean, it kind of like makes sense. At least if you're trying to go for like a more fatigue game plan. So I think we're still trying to put the tipple on the arrow, or we're gonna put the gold bait hook on the arrow. I feel like they're running a lot of attack action, so it actually makes a bit more sense. Like, I feel like we're actually a lot more likely to hit with the King Shark. All right, and we'll close chain. We'll gold bait hook. and fire it off. So I feel like the fatigue game is getting a little concerning, but if we can start stacking up enough gold, we don't have to worry too much about that. So it's interesting because against like, so I think the idea, at least, like I'll wait for like Jason Rolfe to like talk about his like top 8 or whatever. You like gravy decks have gotten to the point where they're very lean. So like, all right, two best decks right now are like hands down gravy, slippy, right? You can't win against Verdance, which is how just Yarl normally is. At least I feel. Oh, this hand's really good. So let's Skullbone here. If we had a blue off the top, I might cycle this Loan Shark. Oh, Codex is actually a good draw. So yeah, I think we're actually just gonna play into Codex. That seems fine. All right. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So like the two decks you're trying to target with any deck right now are just Slippy and Gravy. And I think Gravy decks have gotten a lot leaner to the point where they to the point where like you can kind of try to fatigue them, especially if you're running like a bunch of just like random D-reacts and stuff. So if you can just like clear ally, just like block out, and like your entire deck is just like D-reacts, I feel like that strat is a bit more viable. At least that's like my theory. And versus Slippy, just like any fatigue pile is generally pretty good. So like if like this deck definitely beats Slippy. Does this deck beat Gravy? That's like I think depending on the build of Gravy, yes, I think it probably does. So I think that's probably at least my guess. Glad I didn't put the Gold-Braided Hook there. We are getting some armor out of them, so I don't think this is that bad. This hand is awkward. All right, going for the full fatigue. Interesting. How do we make this hand work, I guess is the question. There is like a theoretical play of like take aim. Yeah, Fang has always seemed like a dark horse, and I mean that kind of in a derogatory way. All right, so yeah, I think we're gonna try to just fish for a blue. I think this is a decent use of gold. If we don't hit a blue, it's unfortunate. These codexes being right next to each other is going to be super awkward. I feel like we actually should just pitch one. I feel like we need to cycle one more time, which is a little unfortunate. All right, that's better. Cool. So now we can Kraken, fire. Saving these codexes for second cycle is going to be awkward, but I think we just kind of got to do what we got to do. I wonder if there's maybe an argument to holding this. Would that have been better? Maybe. We didn't make a gold this turn. That's fine. We send it for 10. Arsenal take game, I think makes sense. Seen 2 CNCs, so we just need to play around the last one. We could actually probably start giving armor at some point, because it doesn't seem like they're really going to have a ton of opportunity to like break armor. It doesn't even seem like they're on Mangle or anything. At least I haven't seen any of the typical like Mangle cards. Alright, there's another Staunch. Seems good. So that's hopefully the last Staunch. If they're on 3 Staunch, that's going to be rough. I feel like who has room for like 3 Staunch though? I don't know. Maybe the deck can afford it, but like that's a lot of Staunch. So yeah, I feel like the reason to play Yarl is that you're just trying to... Let's separate the codexes too. I probably should have stacked that a little bit better. That's fine. All right, found the last codex. All right, Everbloom again. Are they just doing like an infinite Everbloom? All right, yeah, they're trying to go for the infinite Everbloom, I guess. All right, so we start with the Skullbone. We can actually like take aim the Codex and then 3 Oak, which is kind of cool. So let's Skullbone first and form our draw. Take aim is fine to probably bottom for now. And let's salvage. Let's turn over, I guess, the Righteous Cleansing again. So we netted our gold. Then we can take aim, load the Codex. And then 3 Oak. Yeah, Fang being around for the Slippies makes sense. He is definitely good in that matchup. Unfortunately, his Codex is going to be discarding like a hamstring shop. I don't think we're that upset about that. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of just like waiting for a lot of like the BNR stuff to show up before I like start caring about the meta again. I feel like a lot of people are in that state where it's just kind of like, I feel like Gravy and Slippy have just been kind of like running around for so long that it's kind of gotten a little bit boring. Let's get the King Shark here. I feel like they're running more attacks. All right, they're going to get CNC, which makes sense. And then I think we're just supposed to pitch the ref in here. Yeah, I can see a Bonds or a Mantle Ban. I think those are both likely. Wait, did we hook this? Wait, why did we? Oh, we hooked because of the C4 salvage, right? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Making sure we're keeping track of our hooks. Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like it's not even that, like, anything super oppressive, I would say. Like, there are some decks that are, like, Gravy's probably too good. Slippy's probably too good. But, like, it's more so it's just, like, kind of boring, to be honest. I don't know. Labubu can mean whatever you want it to mean, I think. We're having some discourse about this. But yeah, I'd say interpret it how you will. Also, I think Fab TCG beat me to the joke because I think there was like an article that they put out where they put Kano as a Labubu. So if anything, I'm just stealing that joke. All right, they got the pulse. Yeah, that's like the thing about it is like I don't even think they're necessarily that oppressive. It's more so just that like it's kind of stale. I don't know. That's at least how it feels to me. I think Plume Ban does make sense. Like Verdance is going to be cracked in the next set, especially if like Gravy and Slippy eat a ban. Like Verdance is also going to be sitting very well because those are like two of her. Like I think Slippy's probably fine for her, but like Gravy seems pretty rough. So if Gravy hits like a decent sized nerf, then Verdance goes up in stocks. I think. Can you use the quick dodge here? I think that makes sense. All right, pretty good turn from them. All right, one of these days they're going to run out of D-Reacts, and we are going to be happy, but they still have 4 more. All right, drawing a random card off balance. Ah, gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. This hand's nice. All right, CNC, obviously a little unfortunate. Or I guess we gave him the CNC, right? So in that case, I think we're just like giving up the Sea Lace plus Drill Shot, and then we're gonna like fire off a Yellowfin next turn. We can even pull the tuna counter here just to make that a little bit easier and like Arsenal Gold to tip. Seems good. I honestly think that some number of Tipple needs to probably be banned, but it obviously would hurt Marlin as well. All right, let's get our Skullbone value. I think Lace is like a fine draw. Fine with Lace. And then we will pull Tunic, pitch. We do need to worry about the last CNC, I guess, still. Maybe there's an argument to like putting the gold to tip there. Yeah, I feel like Bonds just kind of needs to go. I think Bonds is kind of like a generically boring card. I'm kind of surprised that Bonds was even just like an assassin card to begin with and not like a mystic assassin. But I think it kind of makes sense because like at the time assassin power levels were pretty weak and they didn't know that. Maybe they did know, but like they're putting 2 more assassins in the future that used it really well. I don't know. feel like Bonds is a pretty good candidate. Just because I think the player base at large is kind of sick of that card. All right, this hand's actually really good because we can just send a big Goldfin. Getting a little bit low, but one day they are going to run out of D-Reacts and we are going to be so happy. Oh, the only problem is the gold to tip is not going to regenerate the gold because it's an arsenal. Right. That's still fine, though. So we don't want to draw, or maybe we do want to draw blue because we can just arsenal Redfin. Yeah, I feel like Mantle is a lot more reasonable once Bonds leaves. So we'll crack this. I think this makes sense. Could have also... No, I don't think there's any way we're sending like a big harpoon here. So we crack the gold now. We're getting a little low on gold. But we made a couple little mistakes this game, I think. Load the gold fin. Yeah, Mantle probably just becomes Kiss of Death, which I think is like fine-ish. We didn't make a gold this turn, so we'd be risking our hook. Do we actually want to risk our hook? How many D-Reacts do we think they have? I mean, they have a ton of D-Reacts left. They have Shelter, at least 1 Sink, 2 Shelter. So what are the chances of blocking this? It's 4. I think we probably can't afford it. Well, actually, 4, 3, this is 13 plus 15. How likely is it they block 15? I feel like we should get greedy here. I'm going to get greedy. I think they can't block 15. At least if I'm counting that right. I think this is a reasonable hook. If we get blown out by like... I don't even know what blows us out. I guess like Staunch, like 3rd Staunch plus something else. I feel like even that doesn't fully block everything. So I think in this matchup, like if Yarls are starting to go like more of the fatigue route, I feel like I'm probably supposed to bring in the battering bolts and drop the anchors just for extra deck density. All right, hit, which is great. All right, we don't get to look at their hand. That's fine. So 3-card Yarl hand. Are they going to send like another Righteous Cleansing at us? That'd be kind of scary. Oh, oops. Oh, I think Talishar is broken. Hold on. You can do it, Talishar. Come on. Technical difficulties. Sometimes going back to the lobby also helps. Oh boy. Let's see if we can go even to Talishar and see if that helps us. Oh boy, there might be some Talishar technical difficulties. Okay, let's see if we can get back into our game. All right, we'll give it a minute here, but Talishar might be taking us offline today, which is fine. I don't know how many people were excited to see that Yarl game conclude. Yeah, it seems like they maybe died. Let me actually check the Discord real quick, because it seems like maybe that's the case. I'm still streaming, right? Like people can hear me, so it's not an internet issue. Let's check the Talishar Discord. August 24th. Oh, today's August 24th. Oh yeah, there was an announcement. They said that there was a quick downtime. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so that game might be a bust. I think they're actually going to come back up in a minute. At least it's Aegis was saying that there's a quick downtime shortly. Your game may freeze, but the downtime, when the downtime's over, you should be able to continue. So let's wait it out. Let's see. Could just be some server maintenance or whatever. Yeah, we'll wait for like a couple minutes. In the meantime, let's go ahead and do our deck tech. So This is a list that I think is largely inspired by like Pseudo and Taylor Crawford. I think if you didn't go watch the like the Aggro Blaze tournament, I think Taylor Crawford also made like top 8. I think it's a very similar style of list. I'm not gonna say that the card choices are exactly the same, but I do have some kind of like I have some information on like Pseudo's list and stuff, so it's very similar. I think that there are a couple of cards here that I think I'm still working out. I kind of actually like this kind of like so these are like minor changes between their list basically, but I'm running a combination of the big game trophy shots and the loan sharks. I think that there are specific matchups, so I'm trying to target with each of them. I think loan shark is really good when you're trying to be a bit more streamlined and not care as much about like just like raw numbers. I think that it fills a pretty good slot there. But I also like the big game trophy shots. I think that they help a lot into kind of like the slower matchups or the matchups where you're not getting as disrupted as much. So I kind of like a 2-and-2 split here. I think that big game trophy shot also gets really awkward if you draw multiples, so I think that this kind of logically at least makes sense to me. I've been initially down on Battering Bolt for like the longest time in Marlin, and then I've been experimenting with it a little bit more. I think I kind of like it as like a 2 of right now. So that's like the kind of like the main changes. I've also brought in Riches just for like more fatigue matchups. Let's see if the game got back. But that's kind of like the deck list for today. I think it's like I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable with this list. There's one other card that I was considering that I tried out on Friday. Actually, maybe didn't put in the board, but I've also been trying out Red Swell in this deck, and that's actually felt pretty good, especially with like the loan sharks. Because what you can do with like Red Swell is just like net a bunch of resources and then just pay them all into the loan sharks and just draw a million cards. So those are like the main cards I'm considering right now. But otherwise, I feel like the deck is like pretty comfortable for me. So yeah, that's the deck list for today. Also, you know, as always, our stream is sponsored by Fab Foundry. So if you're looking for like singles, dice and tokens, Fab cards, feel free to check out Fab Foundry and use the promo code Flesh and Bad for any discount. So that'll be kind of helpful as well for our stream. But anyways, in the meantime, let's go ahead and see if Talshar is back. Okay, it seems like it's maybe back. I imagine our opponent probably left. Or maybe the game just like... Alright, so the Yarl game, unfortunately, we'll never know the conclusion. I think they might have had us there, depending on what they had. Let's go ahead and give it another shot. Yeah, seems like we're back up. So yeah, fatigue is still like... So this is like an actual like problem I have with like decks like Marlin is that they just like don't have a way to beat fatigue. We're playing Jude on Puffin. Okay, this is we're gonna smoke him so fast. All right, so Jude is one of our locals, or one of our former locals rather. Let's see how we're gonna do this. So I think, all right, so they're going first. Definitely want I think the tipples. Battering bolts seem bad. I feel like we don't even need the big game trophy shots, but maybe they're fine. Like maybe we run something like this. Yeah, this is gonna be like a one-sided stomp. All right, I'm gonna eat my words. Like when he just like rips a bunch of like cogs on turn 0, but I don't know. I feel like this matchup's like very very good for Marlin. All right, cog number 1 online and pass. Do we want to filter at all? I feel like this hand's like actually kind of good. It's greedy to filter. I don't think I'm an open queue. Was I? I might have been an open queue. I feel like we're supposed to pass here. So we can take aim. Can Kraken. I feel like she's like one card away from being good. I feel like her biggest struggle is just beating D-React piles, and if they print a good card against D-React piles, I feel like the deck gets a lot better. I think we're cracking a gold here, hoping for blue. Blue is nice. And then I think we're just going to be firing this off for 10. We could also do 13 if we wanted to go like above what they can block. But we could also just rip all their armor here. I feel like we're supposed to maybe just try to force it through. I don't know. We have other ways to load the deck, so like keeping that as an arsenal is not like, super high priority. I'm just debating on the hook here. How likely is it that he's able to block? I'm gonna get risky with it. I think it's like greedy, but maybe correct. Like how many like Puffin lists tend to be a lot more boost focused. So if we're hitting for 13, they have 7 armor block here, and then 3 in hand. So like I feel like this is almost guaranteed to hit. The only thing that would stop us is if they're not on blood boost Puffin, but instead if Jude's on like the more kind of like a pummel Puffin, I think this gets a little bit worse. I think we actually like are just like one either a good buff away or a good harpoon away. I think one of the two. We need something that deals with just how good D reacts are in the game right now. And that's like Marlyn's core problem, right? It's like she can't deal with D reacts. Like if we had like even just like a King Leviathan harpoon or something like that. Return fire is like interesting, but I don't know how good it is. All right, so we hit. That's fantastic. All right, let's see what we're hitting. Hit the copper cog, fantastic. So this is why this matchup feels pretty good for me. You just have like all your harpoons are live. Got a Cogger Zeppelin with the yellow in hand. So if we block 6 on this, we can block it, but I think our hand is better than that, so we shouldn't do that. I think we should just tipple and then send the King Shark. It is very funny, your trench. I think it's like I think we need a D-React card, like something maybe not even D-Reacts can't be played, but something that like would have the power of like D-Reacts or like something that like gives a meaningful effect. I think would be really cool. Because the issue is just like there's no like disincentivization for running just all your D-Reacts into Marlin because they're basically just 4 blocks, right? All right, Polly is gonna die to the tipple, so that's good. So Judah like a yellow Jolly Bludger. Oh yeah, the Jolly Bludger. Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's pretty good. So in that case, what do we have to do now? Jolly Bludger, I feel like complicates things. So we're not tapping a cog to give overpower. So I feel like now we just have to like give 6 here. Oh, nice. New Puffin card. Let's do Hook. So you can pump by 1 here. So I think we are supposed to just like preserve our gold a bit here and just like take the turn off to like kill Polly. I feel like this makes sense. We don't necessarily need the Sea Lace. Let's then... So just cracking a gold for Tipple will really even do anything. I feel like it might be a better play to just like Polly kill that. Yeah, I feel like we're just supposed to like take an off turn here and just try to draw towards our power cards, take care of Polly for a turn. Seems good. Alright, so we'll give up the tempo here, but I think that's fine. Ooh, this hand's nice. Very nice. Yeah, Sea Lace also is kind of just like a Blade Break 2 with upside in some matchups, which is fine. Alright, we've got 3 cogs out. So we are in potential danger against like a... We're in a bit of danger against like the what is that card called? The card that looks like a little like mech guy. I guess they all look like little mech guys. I cannot think of the card for the life of me. The gold Skywarden something. I don't know. Golden Skywarden, is that the card? I'm just guessing here. You could put a gun to my head and I would not be able to tell you what any of the Puffin cards are named. Except for like the normal mech cards. I guess like Cogwork Zeppelin and Palantir, I think I know. But all right. Let's start off strong. So double lace. Then we just get to connect with the King Shark. I think even if they have the block, this is still fine, right? The only question is whether or not I'm supposed to pitch the Codex or if I'm supposed to just try to arsenal it. I think it might be correct to just pull the Tunic here so that we have the chance to hold on to Codex. All right, fantastic. So do this. So I think we wanted to hold on to Codex there. think this makes sense. Yeah, Sea Lights being Blade Break 2 is like fairly common though. So we have 7 block here. I feel like we're again kind of guaranteed to hit with this, unless so it's Skywarden, but only buffed by 3 because of these cogs. So I feel like even then we're connecting, right? So it need to be the Skywarden plus another card. All right, blocking with balance and unicycle. So I imagine he's probably just going to crack the balance end of a turn because we drew a bunch of cards this turn. I think it's the Jolly Bludger. Yeah, Jolly Bludger probably seems like the grab there. All right, goes back up to 5 cards. So it could be kind of scary, but all the cogs are going away, which is nice, which will buff the soup ups. But I think that's probably fine for us. All right, lots of action points going on. So it was like, what was the hand? It was like soup up plus another one of these Cogwork Zeppelins plus some other stuff. He's already drawn a card this turn. So this is fine. Yeah, I'd say this is okay. All right, so it's Throttle plus maybe another one of those Zeppelins plus maybe like Spitfire or something. At least that's the play I see right now. I think this is fine for us, though. All right, so he's going to Arsenal that and then end on Gun for 3. So put us to 8, and then we have a pretty good turn ourselves. Yeah, I'd say this is fine. Yeah, I don't think there's any real reason to block here. Let's just get aggro. All right, so we're going to start with the tipple, which means we're doing this. I guess we could also start with the big game trophy shot if we really want to. I feel like tipple, I guess they're like pretty comparable, but like this can pay for something. So I guess it's better to tipple. I guess the question is, should we put the gold braid hook on this or should we put it on thing? I feel like putting it on this might actually take a card out of his hand. So maybe that's actually better. But yeah, it seems just like a normal boost Puffin deck. Let's try this. All right, so we get our gold, which is nice. So now I think we can afford to get a little greedy if we want to. Let's start cracking some gold and just see what happens. All right, another take game is interesting. So now we need another blue if we want to make this like really work. Nice. All right, so we double buff, pump into the harpoon. I feel like this is a good stopping point for gold. Like I feel like there are diminishing returns to cracking more gold at this point. So I feel like we've landed on the state that we wanted, right? We have 6, we have 2 buffs. Seems good. So I think this is acceptable. Yeah, no real reason to use a big game trophy shot there. Let's grab the King Shark, and then let's fire it off. 16 seems pretty good. Oh, soup up's pretty nice, though. Just being like a 4 block. It's pretty sick. Alright, let's see what we can grab. Another Jolly Bludger, I will take that. Oh, the Jolly Bludger that game, or this game, is actually kind of nice. Yellowfin Harpoon. I almost don't want to arsenal this, but maybe it's fine. How many buffs have we seen? This gets like so much worse because we don't have our legs now. I feel like since we're sitting on so much gold that like maybe arsenaling this is bad, but I think we can probably just kill him with anything, right? Let's arsenal it, sure, why not? Yeah, double cog is, I would say, not necessarily where you want to be as Puffin. But maybe the new card will reinvigorate Puffin. I mean, the new card does seem like pretty strong. Alright, so we can pump to 7 at max and then fire Spitfire. So we will have to block this turn. I guess Spitfire is only coming in for 2, though, at max. We've already drawn a card this turn, so that doesn't matter. So this is 7. This Spitfires too, so we'll have to block with something. We'll have to block with like an actual card. What we could do is we could block 7 on this. Does that help? Not really. So I feel like the play is maybe just to give up like Golden Tip or something. Maybe like pre-med or whatever. Interesting. So I think we'd let this happen, and then we just like block 2 on the next thing. Alright, let's see how it goes. It's a lot closer of a game than I thought it would be. So we can also just send an arrow in for 10. Alright, how does the unicycle... Oh, I guess the unicycle lets him off by 1. Sure. So the unicycle would let him get around the tunic block. That makes sense. So in this case... Alright, so we have a couple options here. We can send 10 at him, which would force 2 cards plus the Foundry Heart. Alternatively, we can block with a pre-med and then just start cracking a bunch of gold. I also like that play. I feel like Overpower is the way we win with this, though, right? Maybe. So I feel like the pre-med block maybe makes the most sense, or maybe the lace block makes the most sense, because if we connect, the lace might not matter. So let's block with lace here, and then start filtering some gold and maybe do 6 here. Does that make sense? Alright, so Golden Skywarden would like actually like wreck us really bad. But I think we have to kind of play around it a bit. So let's keep cracking some gold here. See what we find. If we find like a 3-oak here, we actually just like win on the spot, I think. Okay, we went on the spot. Cool. Called it. Nice. Yep, so this seems good. This is what you call gaming, by the way. Is just drawing like your best card. Better luck next time, Jude. That's what I always say. Imagine dying to a yellowfin harpoon. That's kind of embarrassing. All right. Well, that was Jude. Jude is a better player than me by a long shot, but I actually have very good luck into him, so that was nice. All right, let's get another one. I'm sure Jude is going to come in the chat any moment now and just complain about his hands, which I imagine he would do. All right. Yeah, we give Jude a lot of shit, but he's a very good player. Yeah, some of those hands were just like unfortunate. I think like the double cog hand was rough. There's definitely some bad variance on his part, I think. All right. So I have a question for the chat. If Marlin was a Labubu, which Labubu would she be and why? Serious answers only. There is actually like a Labubu tier list, by the way, if you're not familiar with it. Ooh, playing against a Vynset. I can imagine this matchup being like, I haven't played a ton of this matchup, but I feel like it's pretty okay just because we get to run all of our harpoons, which is nice. Big game trophy shot seems fine. I saw someone making a joke that you're supposed to run drop the anchor into Vynset, and I don't fully understand why. It's so over. There's Jude showing up on time. Yeah, which color of Labubu do you like and why? So I will go first. I think that might be an argument for running Skullbone. I feel like we're not blocking much in this matchup anyways. And I feel like we're actually just like running something like this. Let's try running Skullbone into Vynset. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so I think here we're just gonna get a bit of filtering. Alright, give him a good luck, have fun. Alright. Yeah, Jude, how does it feel to lose to a Labubu streamer? Alright, let's just like quiver, just filter a bit. Alright, gold the tips, fine. Yeah, let's just get some good filtering in. Alright, Arsenal Codex. If we can like block with a big harpoon, or even like a little harpoon, I think that's fine. Actually, we probably shouldn't have Arsenal Codex. There's no guarantee that they attack in. I feel like that's probably a mistake. Yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I guess we can, like, still do something. Yeah, Cog's not blocking is, like, real rough. You also didn't see, like, any of your Sky Wardens, which is really bad. But also this hand's, like... Oh, I might have, like, actually ruined myself here. I should not have Arsenal this Codex. Well, that's on me. Loan Shark is interesting. I feel like I actually want that on top. Or maybe we don't want that on top, because maybe I need to, like, bail myself out of this hand. Hold on. Let's undo that opt. I think we actually, like, ruined ourselves by Arsenal Codex, assuming that we're going to get blocked into. So let's Skullbone. Yeah, this is like a punt. That's fine, though. Yeah, Marlin gameplay is, like, pretty depressing. I'm not going to lie. So we do Codex. Is this, like, the worst play of all time? Maybe. Oh, okay. It worked out. Cool. I bailed myself out of my egregious misplay. Yeah, I think Arsenal the Codex are, like, makes sense against heroes that are not Vynset. But against heroes that are Vynset, I feel like that play is, like, really bad. I don't think Marlin gameplay is, like, that depressing. Like, we beat Jude, which was nice. That game felt good, right? Just send 16 overpower every turn. You win. Alright, reduce is pretty good. No blues, but that's fine. So we're drawing into the Loan Shark, which is nice. Or no, we bottomed the Loan Shark. Or we're drawing into C4, which is also fine. Alright, got the Shadow Puppetry. So this is not preventable. And then we got 3 Rune Chance plus the Deathly Whale. Do we need to be worried about Succumb? I feel like no. So we skip the chance. We can make a gold off the Deathly Whale. So they're going to have a good turn. But I think as long as they don't hit off the Shadow Puppetry, this is probably fine. Yeah, that Codex Arsenal was probably a punt. That's okay. Alright, so no Succumb. Do Vynset lists even run Succumb anymore? Yeah, that was like a terrible Codex line. But it's fine. We'll figure it out. Alright, they hit a Phantom Wraith, which I don't think I'm that upset about. Let's salvage their Deathly Whale. Marlin. So this works out, right? As long as we don't draw red off the... Or even a red is like a fine fail state. Oh, this is perfect. So we discard the gold pin. Load this. We don't even have to use Tunic off this. This is great. So we do this. Refresh our gold, which also makes our hook come in. Or guarantees our hook. So I say it's fine. Yeah, honestly, if I was the Vynset, I'd ask myself to leave. That was, like, pretty bad, I think. I think I just, like, didn't think about it. Just autopilot. That's okay, though. We somehow, like, bailed ourselves out really heavily by doing that. Okay. Alright, got the big game trophy shot, so we get 2 gold here. Maybe even a 3rd gold off the King Shark. We got Succumb, Machinations, and Envelop. Sure. I guess that's fine, though, right? Like, we don't get an extra gold off the King Shark, but, like, their hand is, like, pretty bad. I think that's okay. Alright. Envelop, making an additional rune chant. So they banish the Machinations, pitch Succumb. Oh, this is a 2-cost one. Sorry, I thought this was the 3-cost one. Yep, so that's a pretty good chunk of damage. But I think this is fine still. I think we're gonna try to use a bunch of our gold next turn. We can actually use our Skullbone here, which is quite nice. So no blocks. Take our damage. Yeah, I think I made some suboptimal plays this game. Oh, cracking an eloquence. Okay. Interesting. So they're gonna be taking a lot of blood debt from that. Or maybe not. Maybe they think they can like kill us. So let's take aim. Any tips on how to fight Succumb? I guess it's like so first, like for any like discard effect in the game, you need to evaluate whether or not it's actually bad for you to get hit by it. Depending like so like Succumb in Bonds of Agony, right? Like there are some hands where you just like don't like let's say you have a hand of all blues or something that like don't do anything, right? If your opponent hits you, or we're gonna bottom that. But if your opponent hits you with a discard effect and you don't care about it, then like obviously just like take the discard effect and maybe like play around it. Maybe they don't have it, that kind of thing. If you do care about the discard effect, that's where it gets, I guess, a little bit more interesting. We're gonna cycle, I think, at least one more time. I think this is fine. But if you can afford to not care about the discard effect, or sorry, if you need to care about the discard effect, the best thing I'd say to do is like I guess against that last attack, right? Like let's take the Phantom Wraith, right? They sent like 3 rune chance plus like Phantom Wraith or something. With Succumb notably, which I think they pitched. Okay, so we can't bring it up. But anyways, if you've not dealt arcane damage, I think you can't play Succumb on that. So basically one option against Succumb is to either block the rune chance. The other option is to just block the I think I'm gonna get greedy with the hook here. I think one option is to block the rune chance. The other option is block the attack, whichever one is like most beneficial for you. For rune chance, if you have like AB1 and like you have blue in hand, obviously that's a really good line. It's more efficient to block the attack. Like let's say you have a bunch of like red 3 blocks in hand, then it might be better to just like block the attack itself by blocking with like 2 reds or something. I'd say it really depends on like your hand composition, like what the hero is. This is good for us though, right? Okay, yeah. But I'd say it like most things in Fab, it kind of like just depends. They also might be just dying to blood debt here, which is kind of cool. So let's start by Skullbone. So we want to find some blues. Eye is great. But I'd say like I get like for most heroes, it just kind of like depends. Is the short answer. Which one's better between the King Kraken and King Shark? I feel like the King Shark is better. But yeah, like I guess Succumb, like there's also this concept, I guess, just in TCGs in general. Like I think there's a concept in Magic as well, where it's just like make them have the effect. So that's nice as well. So make them have it, right? Where it's like if you can afford to make them have, what was make them have it mean? It means that like if they don't have it, this play is really good for you. But if they do have it, obviously this play like sometimes you just like cannot play around an effect, and if you're playing scared, often that can lead to like suboptimal lines. So sometimes it's better to just like make them have the one card that they need to have in that situation, as opposed to like just like playing scared the entire game. That's kind of like I guess another important concept. It's a similar thing with like Take Up the Mantle and like Bonds of Agony and Graveyard. Is like you can't just like play around every attack being Bonds of Agony, right? So if they have it, like good beats. But you can't always like play scared of that, I guess I would say. So like don't play inefficiently around cards that your opponent like could have, I guess is the key thing there. Okay, so I think on this hand maybe we're supposed to take. I still am gonna justify the King Shark because if they don't have an attack in hand, they can't banish to Widespread, or they can't banish to Vynset, and that's pretty good for us. So I'd say it's still fine. Oh, and this is a really good hand. So yeah, our opponent just might be dying to blood debt here. But yeah, make them have it is I think a really good concept. Yeah, like you can't just like play scared of everything basically. Okay, so we arsenal the bluefin. This is fantastic. The question I guess I have is, so we have a ponder token on there anyways. I think it's fine to just like go off an arsenal. If they hit, if we hit here, we die. Oh, you got a Wilson?
I got Wilson.
Hand me the Wilson. Wilson Cam. Is this a reward for beating Vynset?
Oh, you beat Vynset?
Yeah, I beat a Vynset.
You shouldn't get rewarded for beating a Vynset.
That's true.
Can I have him back?
Oh, tips on for a new player to build a deck. So that's actually a good topic. So I guess it depends on what your goals as a new player are, right? Oh, you want him back?
I do want him back.
Well, I have to show him off to the camera. Hold on. Where is he? Here's Wilson.
Or,
Right, here we go.
just
You can take the Wilson.
Thank you.
He's very heavy. So okay, so here's actually a good topic. So tips for building for a new player to build a deck. So there are two goals I guess you can have as a new player, right? Either you want to have fun or you want to like compete. And assuming that you're coming from Wilson's a very big cuddly cat.
He's not that cuddly.
He's sometimes cuddly. He's like cuddly against his will. But anyways, so as a new player, you have two goals for building a deck. You have goal number one, which is you want to have fun and you can like play whatever you want, right? Like, and I think that's like very reasonable, right? You get to like Fab first and foremost. If you don't understand what a lot of the cards are, you just want to have fun, right? In which case, like armory decks are great. I'd say that if you wanted to like like add in a bunch of like the cards that you like in the game or you want to test out, like that's also fine. Yeah, our cats are very sweet. But I'd say like as a new player, if your goal is to have fun, like do whatever you want, like right? Like there's no real like you don't have to really think too much about your deck building. Now I will say if you want to build like a competitive deck, one of the ways like the first thing I would probably recommend to a new player is like don't try to build your own deck, unless you are like missing cards or whatever. In that case, I would say like look at a lot of the top decks in just like Fab in general, like look at tournament decks. And you'll look at like Slippy, for instance, right? Let's take Slippy as an example. So Slippy is like an $1,800 deck. So maybe you don't have all the cards for Slippy, but you can look at a lot of like the commons in the deck. So you can look at like cards like Mark of the Black Widow, maybe like Hunter's Clays, which I guess have Hunter's Clays gone down. I think those are still pretty expensive too.
I think they're expensive, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, maybe Slippy is like a terrible example. Maybe pick a hero that's not Slippy. But I think that like the best things for new players to look at are either the armory decks, just like budget deck techs. There are a lot of those on YouTube, and just like as a whole, think about they're 25-ish. That's still like a lot. I could be a lot for like
it's
a new
a lot
player.
of work. They could have been a lot worse though. It used to be
Yeah.
like 50.
Yeah, it used to be like 50. But anyways, what I would say is like pick a hero that like interests you. And then if you want to be more competitive, like look at the top decks. And just like kind of go from there. I think like those are the two goals you can have as a new player. Either you're playing for fun or you're playing to like try to compete. But like obviously with competitive decks, there is like a monetary like barrier, right? Where like maybe you don't have all the cards as a new player. In which case, like you could always play on Teleshore if you want to just like play the deck as well. And then like in paper, the deck could be like different, right? So that's probably what I would say for like new players. And just like do whatever is like fun. Like if you're a new player, you're probably not good at Fab anyways, so maybe like building a competitive deck doesn't really matter all that much.
We do have a video on it.
Do we have a video on it?
Yeah, it's one of our learning.
Oh yeah, we do have a video. Let me
we talk about it.
Let me go to YouTube. We can go. It's whatever. Yeah, let me take a look. We have managed videos, or no, maybe that's not the right one. Videos.
I think it's
popular. This one, yeah. Why you're not improving at Flush and Butt for realsies, or something like that.
Yeah, it's either that or the value one.
Yeah,
I don't remember which.
One of the two. Okay, playing against Levia. I actually don't know how this matchup is. All right, so I will go first. I think both of our harpoons are pretty okay into her, and then maybe we don't need the big game trophy shots. Maybe we just go for like. Actually, how likely is it for us to hit gold? It's pretty likely, right? They don't run a ton of D-Reacts. Let's run it like this. See how it goes. All right, interesting opener. I feel like we'll just take the filtering here. Yeah, no problem. I think that Fab's a fun game to get into, so I'm always happy to try to convince more people to get into it. All right, what's our arsenal going to be this turn? Probably just pre-med, in which case... Actually, probably supposed to just like pitch to here, keep the seafloor, and arsenal the pre-med. I guess we can also like play this out, right? Just to like get it out of our hand. We'll turn it face down itself because that's kind of funny. Hilarious turn one play. This hand could be interesting. You like hit him with a sleep dart, and then like double pre-med on that. All right, scabs roll turn 1. Living dangerously. All right, claw pitching doomsday. Oh, it shouldn't be able to turn itself face down? That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad I can do my part to do some Talshar bug fixing. I feel like I've actually been responsible for finding a decent number of bugs, which is kind of hilarious. But I guess maybe I'm like the first person to actually do that, which tracks. Oh, they roll scabs. That's why they have a second. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you can totally just like build whatever you want. You're like a new player, right? Like whatever you build, it's probably not going to be like great in terms of like competitive whatever, but like just have fun, you know. All right, so start with the pre-med. Do you want to send the hamstring or the sleep dart? There's actually like a pretty decent chance that this just gets blocked out, but I don't think that's the end of the world. Which one of these is better? So Levia, what does she say? If a card is 6 or more, cards you don't lose blood debt. But they don't have any yet, so maybe I don't really care about that. I think we're just going to crack the gold here. Maybe we get Arsenal, like the Bolton shot, I think is fine. We could also just like pump the Bolton shot for an extra 4. Yeah, it's better. We get like +4 by doing this. Seems fine. Yeah, 15's not bad. Yeah, I would say like honestly like the fab deck building thing, like it's pretty similar to if you're like a new player in Magic, like there's like a core like you run like whatever 23 lands is I can't remember. It's been so long since I played Magic. Is that like a normal amount of lands in like a standard deck? Um who knows. But anyways, like you start with like that baseline, which I guess is similar to fab, right? You start with a baseline of like 30 blues, depending on the deck, maybe like a less if you're like a red line deck or whatever. Ooh, just going with the beast within. Okay. Spicy. All right, Blood Rush. Looking like a pretty good turn. But I think it's like a similar kind of concept, at least in Fab, where you just kind of like start with the shell, build around that. All right, looking like a scary turn. We're going to save our blocks for the end. So I imagine it's like Claw Claw something. See how it goes. All right. Not as bad as I think it could have been. I'm actually... Oh, maybe they didn't have the Dread Screamer. Oh, no, they could have Dread Screamered if they wanted to. Maybe they just thought it was risky or something. Okay. Yeah, we'll just Sunken Treasure, block, turn over... Oh, we don't want to turn over the Blood Rush, do we? I guess we turn over the Beast Within, so they have a 6 that they're not hitting. Yeah, this is fine. So we turn over the Beast Within, get our first gold. Yeah, you definitely build like a fun endless Marlin build. I think also what I would recommend for new players is like if you're thinking about like buying cards, try to buy cards that are like if you assuming that you want to like take them and build other decks, try to buy your generics first if you can. Just a good way to save money in the long run. Okay, gold bait hook. Yeah, like I think for your first deck, if you're trying to like play, like trying to get into the motion of like Fab, like I would say either get like an armory deck or just like try to build something that someone else has played. But yeah, I think like once maybe you get like I think there are different people like you know kind of like different strokes for different folks, right? But I'd say it kind of like depends on like what you want to do. I like bought Kano, Marlin, Puffin, and Gravy. I think those are like solid choices for a new player. I think Kano is pretty fun. Like, I would just say like if you already bought into a lot of the decks, what I'd say is just like, if you're trying to get familiar with like a lot of the play patterns, just like play what someone else has made, just so you're not like, because you want to eliminate, I guess your deck being a problem, right? But if you want to learn more about the game, then like learning about your own plays, if you remove that kind of factor, is a little bit more interesting. Okay, what do we want to take here? Tear limb from limb or sigil cycles. Probably just the. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, Kano's really good. Tegan likes Kano. Right, interesting hand. I think we're gonna. There's some pros and cons to this hand. I think we're maybe just gonna try to lean on firing a red fin or something. Like Pull Tunic, try to find a bunch of buffs. Getting a little low here. Which is kind of scary. So I have a question. If they try to do for like a graveyard banish, does this face down card get included in the banish? I assume not, right? Or maybe it does. I don't know. It's still technically a card in the zone. All right, straw into. Oh, this is good. So we arsenal the red pin. We just pump it. Yeah, we have to get rid of Codex, unfortunately, but that's not the end of the world. Getting a little bit low on life here, but we still have some armor to work with. Oh yeah, Acilio's a fun one too. Tegan's kind of an Acilio hater, but I think Acilio is pretty fun for new players. I think just fun for players in general. I think that deck, like, people do enjoy it a lot. Alright, so I think our plan here is to get them to die to Blood Debt. Oh, Riptide's also a good one. I think Riptide stuff is pretty cheap overall. I've not looked at a ton of it. I think, like, Trench is also, like, pretty cheap. I don't know. Alright, so unfortunately whiff on the Redfin, but not the end of the world. Her hand's not that good. Sure, it's fine. Alright, we cleared out all the armor. We're sitting on a 3 oak. I think we're in pretty decent shape. I think our plan is to maybe block a bit here. Yeah, that's true. Mind Warp is a bit rough. Alright, just coming in for 7. 7, do we care about? Not a ton. Yeah, New Horizons definitely a bit pricier. Let's go ahead and pitch, block with the King Kraken, and then maybe just block with our hook, because why not? I don't think we really need to right now, but it seems fine. Stay healthy. So start with the Marlin. I think we're hoping to draw a buff here, ideally. In which case, I guess the question is, do we want to put this on the tipple? I think not, because it's unlikely they want to block the tipple anyways. All right, draw a Yellowfin. I think we can maybe do like 1 cycle here, just to see if we hit a buff. Because we are sitting on a decent amount of gold. We're going to be getting more gold this turn, presumably. So I think it's fine to maybe just like use a gold to see if we can draw a pump, which should put us pretty far ahead. How many pumps do we have left? A decent amount. All right, I do love to see this block. It's an interesting one. Yeah, let's try to find a buff. We do find a buff. Excellent. Yep, so this is exactly how we drew it up. Seems good. I think we're still arsenaling the King Shark here. And then pump. And Arsenal, I think it's better Arsenal the King Kraken just for next turn, just so we have it. Gold to hook, gold bait hook that, and then King Shark. Seems good. Oh, spilled a bunch of water over myself. Was not expecting that. I think we got a pretty significant tempo lead here, which is at least nice. And like they are probably just going to be dying to Blood Debt pretty soon. And the Lace with Blood out as well. They can't flip also, which is really good. Take a Hungry Slaughter Beast. Yeah, I'd say we're in a pretty good spot here. Oh, I heard a cat. What's the cat doing?
Dog the cat. What are you doing? Oh, you knocked something off.
Give him a good game. I guess we'll just block with our Sea Lice here. Oh, Tegan's an Acilio hater just because like I don't even think Tegan has like a necessarily a rationale for hating Acilio. I think she just thinks the deck is bad. It's been doing pretty well, at least in like recent stuff. I think Tegan just thinks like okay. So here's actually the Tegan Acilio story is that Tegan went to Pro Tour Amsterdam, right? Yeah, it's Pro Tour Amsterdam where they like spoiled a bunch of like the Acilio stuff. And Tegan had like a very different impression of what like Acilio would be. Like mainly Tegan was waiting for a bunch of like Kano support, just so that like he LLs and maybe there's like a different wizard that like does similar things. But Tegan basically feels like Acilio is like a lightning hero first and foremost, as opposed to a wizard.
Well, specifically what it is the first card they showed offering was Null Shock.
Yeah,
like a counter spell. Right?
Yeah, the first card Tegan saw was Null Shock, so we assumed that there would be more.
Yeah. And his ability is like you discard, so like you're cycling random, like it's like a tempo control wizard.
It kind of is though. I mean,
it's not. It's kind of like Aurora with extra. Like it doesn't. It doesn't play at all the way I thought it would, and it's just disappointing.
Yeah. So long story short, Tegan just it was kind of different than what Tegan thought, but I think the deck is fine. Like I think it's like an okay deck to have in the game. What's what? Oh, he's gonna go get food. But yeah, I think like Acilio's fine. Like I think it's just like Tegan had a different impression of what that deck would be, and then that's what it was. All right. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, why Marlin? I kind of just like the play patterns of this deck more than anything. Like it feels like there's a lot of decisions. I tend to like decks that there are a lot of like decision points. Like to me, the decks that are most interesting in Fab are ones where they're a little bit like non-linear. So like I'm not a fan of Syndra. Not really a fan of like Victor and like other kind of decks where it feels like there's a lot more. You kind of just like the deck kind of plays itself to some extent. All right, first or second in Dory. I feel like second in Dory is probably fine. I feel like we should probably assume that it's going to be Fatigue. I'm not 100% on that though. I think we're going to try to fat deck and see how that works out for us. But this could also just be like a Dawnblade Dory. Let's just try to run like all 70 and see how that goes for us. So we're putting them on first. This is fine. All right, so unfortunately we got punished here. They're Dawnblade Dory. But I feel like I've been seeing a lot more non-Dawnblade Dory. Top 5 favorite heroes. Does this include LL heroes or just heroes in the current like CC? I think my answer kind of maybe changes depending on that. Let's go ahead and block, I guess, the battering. We want to save our codex, obviously. Let me just give 6 here. Alright, Glint's fine. But yeah, if the top 5 is current CC heroes, I would say... Oh wait, LL included? Okay, so top 5 favorite LL included. I think Zen is probably first and foremost my number 1. Twinning Blade could be really good here. Do we want to just give up a codex? Maybe we can't afford to give up a codex. I think that's fine. Zen, obviously one of my favorite heroes of all time. Just like super interesting play patterns. Just very skill intensive, like lots of little, I guess, kind of like best practices stuff. I wouldn't say there's a ton of like necessarily decisions in Zen, but like there are like there's like a back and forth. There's like sometimes you give up tempo, sometimes you take tempo. I feel like this decisions at like a macro level are really interesting. With Marlin, I feel like there's I'd say Marlin's like probably one of my another kind of like favorite. This hand's weird. I could just like fire off a Goldfin. But yeah, I'd say Marlin's probably good. Like Marlin's one of my favorites. Yarl's one of my favorites. Trying to think who else was I guess like near and dear. Yeah, like playing like the playing a chase the tail stuff is boring, but it's how you get to the chase the tail that I think was interesting. Which is sometimes like super non-linear. Like sometimes there are like little things you do like here and there that like change like how you have to like play that deck. At least I think it's a deck that I got like a lot of like reps in. And like I basically saw like a lot of the history of the deck, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think that the deck is cool at least. I don't think anyone can deny that. So okay, so top three decks are like Marlin, Yarl, Zen. Try to think what else. Who else have I enjoyed? I would say I do like Kano a bit, but Kano does feel sometimes a little bit linear. So I'd probably put Kano like fourth. Who else do I like? Who's my fifth favorite deck? I might need to look at like the hero roster. I like pull that up. Tap heroes. Oh, Katsu's fun. I like Katsu a bit. Yeah, I'd say Katsu is probably a good candidate there. Yeah, I'm looking at the roster right now. I think Katsu is probably a decent candidate there. Yeah, I'm gonna say Katsu. I'm gonna say Katsu is the last one. What heroes have I played at rated events? I played Katsu before. I played Bravo. I've not played Marlin at a rated event, I don't think. Played Zen. I played Yarl at a rated event. Ano at a rated event. I'd say those are probably heroes. I've not gotten a chance to like actually take Marlin to a rated event, which is probably for the best in terms of preserving the value of entry, I guess. But yeah, I'd say those. I think those are the ones I brought. I guess if you want to count like Young Zen, maybe you can count that, but I don't know. I'm not counting like Blitz heroes. I think that's probably not correct. All right, so coming in with the Dawnblade seems good. Is this a hand where we just want to give him a counter? We can just get a battering bolt. It might be fine. Could also just like block. If we just like block 6 on this, I think this is also kind of reasonable. If they have like react, then giving them counter is probably fine. Oh, singing is pretty good. Probably just getting like an Iron Song or something. Maybe there's merit to just like saying no blocks on this and then just saying you don't have it on the next part. If they get a Dawnblade counter, I'm not like that upset about it though, because we just have Codex to buy back tempo. So maybe this is fine. It's a pretty good hand from them, for what it's worth. Seems real good. Yep, so no reason to block the Dawnblade for 5, I think. I think there's maybe an argument to just... I guess we get wrecked by Iron Song anyways, or Singing Steelblade or whatever, but yeah. Should be fine. Just get back our battering bolts. They're not going to have to discard anything, but that's also okay. Drawing port side. I feel like I don't want to draw either of these, right? Because we don't have gold set up. Yeah, Warrior can be a bit of a tougher matchup. Let's see if the battering bolts like end up helping though. I probably shouldn't also be fat teching this matchup for what it's worth. Like assuming that we know that they're Dawnblade. Maybe I was supposed to just assume Dawnblade regardless, and maybe Decimator's like whatever. I don't know. They're like pros and cons, I guess. But they do have to respect this battering bolt if they have any number of reacts in hand. So it could be good here. But yeah, I'd say Yarl's a lot of fun if you take him to a rated event. You got a lot of pretty decent matchups, and you can like, especially against like, kind of like below average gravies, you can kind of get a lot of equity into that. All right, Shelter is good. So we at least get also, if we get to hit with this, we get some hand information. So this is kind of why I didn't really care about giving them the counter as much. All right, Steelblade Supremacy. So they can just pitch that to Dawnblade, or they can just Arsenal it. We will Arsenal the Bolton Shot. This hand's awkward. I guess we're just blocking 3. Block 3, pump, and then Arsenal King Kraken. I think that's the play I see. I'd say this is going not too bad though. This is kind of like a lot of people like struggle playing against Dory, but this is kind of like what you have to do is just like on turn, off turn. Like let them have counter, make them deal with your disruption, and then when they don't have any cards to like punish you back, that's when you can start blocking. You basically just don't want to let them like snowball a bunch of counters. This hand's like a little bit lackluster from us, but it's fine. Seeing 2 codexes. Yeah, a little bit awkward. So I feel like next turn we're gonna just like let them have as many counters as they want, assuming that we draw anything that's like good. Oh, they're respecting the Bolden Shot. That's really good for us. This is basically blank text. I don't mind seeing that armor block. Alright, good hand. Hit and run. Interesting. So what are they threatening here? They're threatening like Iron Song? Is that like the only card that punishes us here is Iron Song? Because like they have only 1 floating, so if they don't hit with this, then what do? So this needs to be Iron Song. So assuming this is Iron Song, we should still just like block 3 here and make them use it. I think that makes sense. But I'm putting this card as Iron Song because that's the only way this makes sense. Okay, yep. So that tracks. Seems good. So they're gonna get another counter here, but that's fine. We have to like make them use it there. If we don't, then we're like putting ourselves in not a great spot. So we do actually have an option here to give up the drop the anchor, and then just like give up Sea Lace. I don't love doing that though. I feel like giving them a counter might be fine here. Could also slow the game down a bit if we wanted to. I think there's some options here. I kind of think I'm just supposed to just send the King Kraken though. Like just let him have another counter. There's a risk here, but I think it's fine-ish. I don't really want to block with like a drop in my armor. Rather save it for a better turn. And just play the value game here. But yeah, an important thing to note about Dory is just like knowing what their last card is very important. Like what the best card in that scenario would be. I think like Iron Song in that case is like the only card that makes sense to play the way they did. I guess Blade Flurry. Would Blade Flurry have also done it? Yeah, Blade Flurry I guess also does it. So I guess that might have also made sense. But yeah, I assumed it was like some 0 cost react. Seems logical. Alright, so imagine here they're just on double react in hand, assuming that they didn't block with a non-attack. So warrior attack reaction and 20 blades. So they're going to be able to puncture this turn. Sure. Not the end of the world. Maybe we should have threatened the gold on that. Not 100%. Alright, this seems like a good turn to just like block out because we don't have an arsenal set up. So we know that they have a puncture in hand. So if we just like block 7 here and then take them off the counter, they arsenal puncture. Is that good? Yeah, I think that's probably fine. I think we're going to just try to play towards our 3 oaks, which we still have 3 in the deck, and we have other ways to load as well. So I'd say that's probably the play. We're also going to be making a gold for what it's worth. So I feel like this block makes sense. Turn over like singing. Put ourselves on the first gold. And just arsenal the pre-med. Alright, so clear the counters. They have a puncture and arsenal. Chernobyl does not have reprise. Alright, yep, trot's pretty good. Alright, 2 trots. So I'd say there's no real reason to try to block here. So we're going to give them counters again this turn, but that's fine. And then this hand's like awkward. But I think we still have to like play it. Yeah, unfortunately I think we have to play it here. This hand would really benefit from like a 3 oak. But I think that's probably the problem with fat decking is we see our power cards a little bit less often. Yeah, I think we hedged for... we probably shouldn't hedge for fatigue as hard as we did. I think I would have been smart if they ended up being on like Decimator or whatever, but maybe it's just too risky. Especially if they're on Dawnblade, it gets so much worse. Alright, so they're not going to play out the Puncture here, so what does that mean? They also didn't play anything out. I think we're just taking this. I think we have to kind of YOLO this hand a little bit. Just fine. Yeah, this is fine. So I think the play we might have to make here is to like just send a big Goldfin Harpoon at them, which I'm not super big fan of. It's not disruptive is the issue. Alright, pitching a Sigil. Wait, why didn't they just play the Sigil? Hey, they just want the one resource? Feels wrong. Yeah, I think this might just be a case of like a bad matchup just because how much attack reacts are in warrior decks. That's one of also like the problems I have with like overpower in general is like I'm not sure why it didn't specify like attack reacts as like another thing, but besides the point. Making our Harpoon. We're definitely playing the pre-med out. I guess the question is whether or not we want to play out the Tipple or we want to play out the big game trophy shot. I feel like it might be better to just play out the trophy shot and like discard the Tipple. This feels bad. Golden Tip is good at least. So we discard the Tipple. This is going to be a big Goldfin for what it's worth. But maybe just a little bit too awkward here. I mean, 15 is 15, but beyond that, not super exciting. This is why I also like tangent about Golden Tip. I think Golden Tip is just like too strong to not run in Marlin a lot of the time. And just being a yellow 0 for 3 at its floor is just really good, even if it doesn't have like an on-hit. And it also lets you do turns like this occasionally. Ooh, Tar Pit Trap. It's fine. Maybe the Tar Pit Traps aren't even that good because it's the next time an attack action card, but I was thinking maybe just do this for the value of just kind of like blocking out like a Dawnblade randomly. So we can play around Reprise here if we want by just, well, they still have that Puncture, right? So if they have that Puncture, this gets awkward, but I think we're going to try to put them off a Dawnblade counter one more time. So we're going to Tar Pit. All right, there's Blade Flurry. So does this mean, so they're still sitting on that Puncture, right? They haven't played it. Yeah, they have not played that Puncture. In which case, do we force them to play it here? Maybe? Like, I feel like we're just going to block out this turn anyways. So maybe this is fine. I think we should force them to use it here. And then just try to block on the next thing. Although maybe we don't even need to block. Maybe just try to send the Battering Bolt. And just give them 2 counters. Which also feels kind of bad. Alright, so they go for the Puncture here. It's fine. Oh, the Puncture does get Piercing, right? Oh, that's pretty good. So if it's defended by equipment, it gets +1. Maybe we shouldn't have blocked with the Gold Braid Hook then. Maybe that's my bad. So the next swing is going to be coming in for 6. So I think we're just not blocking the next swing. We're just going to use the Tar Pit here. I think our play has to be just send Battering Bolt and just like put them off of having cards in hand. Like, I think we need to pitch the Riches here, send the Battering. If we draw like a 3-oak, that could also be really good. Yeah, but this block's definitely a little bit awkward. Could also just like block 6, Arsenal, or like pay with the Riches, like send like a baby Goldfin, and then they'd still have a counter. Bit rough. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Doing pretty good today. Kind of slept in a little bit. It's nice. So it's Cracker Gold, Codex Draw. Interesting. Is this like... Maybe we just need to start cracking some gold here. I'm going to pass on the reload for now. And let's... I want to try to arsenal this Codex if I can. Alright, maybe I'm getting greedy, but that's fine. Yeah, maybe we're not supposed to bring in the King Sharks. I think I was trying to play maybe a bit too cute and trying to prepare for, I guess, I was trying to put them on, like, the Decimator Dory. Or at least, like, I think a lot of Dories will, like, side Decimator in this matchup. Yeah, we're answering the important questions today. I think we're dead here, though. I don't even think there's anything... We can draw into, like... Would blue do it? I don't even think it would. Yeah, I guess we're just sending the Battering Bolt for 6 and sitting on Codex. Kind of need them to not have anything here, but they have a lot. They can give us a card plus equipment still. Yeah, I think we're probably just dead to the fact that they're a warrior. Ugh, rough. I feel like we also boarded wrong, so maybe that's on me. If we get 2 cards out of them off this Battering Bolt, I'm pretty happy with that, though. Right. Need them to have a bad turn here. I guess we can, like, block 9 on this, right? Block 9 with the King Shark. Or the King Kraken here. We can also block 8. If we don't give Tunic... They've used 2 Twinning Blades, right? I think we turned... this might have also been turned over Twinning Blade. So we need them to not have anything here. Could also just, like, YOLO off the 3 Oak. But there's some risk in that. Let's... It was singing. Oh, it was a singing, yeah. I think you're right. That was a singing Steel Blade. So they could still have a 20 blade here. But they are used 2, so I don't know if we can play her on the last one. Yep, so we'll just give 11. And then we are keeping the 3 Oak. Oh no, we got punished by Provoke. Brutal. Yeah, I guess maybe we should have thought about Provoke a little bit longer. Unfortunate, we got owned. This hand's good. If we can do anything with it. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Dawnblade for 5. Tar Pit doesn't save us. I feel like we have to, like, just block 5 here and hope it's nothing. Like, actual nothing. But it seems unlikely. Can also just block with Tunic and say you don't have anything. I guess that doesn't even work because they still have the bolters up. I think we're just dead here, but that's okay. We'll block with the pre-med and then Tarka trap it, I guess. Oh, I maybe shouldn't have even reacted there. No, I had to react there because then they would just hit with the Warrior's Valor. Yep, Iron Song will kill us for sure. Yeah, I think that there was probably an argument to thinking about Provoke a little bit longer than we did. Unfortunate. Yeah, I don't think we can beat anything here. I feel like maybe we're just trying to cycle for 2 blues off this so that we can Codex for value. But we might just be dead here. Alright, not dead. Yeah, so maybe we should have thought about Provoke. So I think that was a misplay that game. Maybe we need to think a little bit harder about Provoke. Okay. Let's crack the gold. Tipple. Not exactly helpful. But maybe we just rip a 3 Oak and we're in business. Still have 2 3 Oaks left in the deck. So chances are likelier than you think. Alright, Hamstring, not helpful. Do we have a 0 cost we can get? I guess we can just get like a drill shot. Not super exciting though. Block with a nip. I'm glad to see them blocking. I guess for what it's worth, we probably also... Oh, sorry, we should not. We probably also should have gold-baited hook, but I guess that's my bad anyways. Alright, so we pull this. Hammerhead. Codex. I guess just drill shot, right? Yeah. Unlucky. Yeah. I think we just boarded wrong. I think if we boarded for Dawnblade, then this would have gone a lot better. I think what we do for Dawnblade is probably... Let me go to my decks. So with Dawnblade, I think we just want to board out the King Sharks, leaving the King Krakens plus the Battering Bolts. Hey, that's the strat. Alright, let's go ahead and put a counter on Crown, I guess. Don't think it matters much here. Port side is interesting. Ooh, hard to find all. So I feel like they maybe do have like a Decimator switchboard. At least that's what the find all signals to me. That being said, we have to play around React here, which is rough. Don't know if there's much decision here. I feel like we maybe just need to rip a Codex or a 3-Oak still. Actually, I think it needs to be 3-Oak, right? Still have 2. So I think that's more doable than you think. I guess the question is, can we afford to give this any more blocks? Probably just block with the Tunic. Maybe we need to give up one of the buffs, actually. Because we need to block a 3 breakpoint. Yeah. Still not very helpful this game, but maybe that's fine. All right, so we're just going to start with the port side, right? So we start with the port side, try to draw into 3-Oak, and that's our out this game. I think it needs to be 3-Oak. So we still have 2 looks at it, right? I think we need to go for it. All right, Bluefin at least represents another draw. Let's get greedy. That's still fine, actually. Because now we can just take game plus pre-med and slap it on King Kraken. And now they have to give us 3 armor. I guess we might as well just like threaten the hook as well. If they don't want to full block this, I think that's fine. So unfortunately, no overpower. We haven't seen... So actually, we boarded 70 cards, right? So the 3-Oaks have both been in the bottom 30 out of 70. Or two of the 3-Oaks have been in the bottom 30 out of 70. I think that's a little bit rough in terms of RNG, but like not super outside the norm. Probably not like that statistically unlikely. But yeah, I think we're still cooked this game. Giving a lot of blocks to this. I guess maybe they just want to break hook, which I'm kind of fine with. Oh yeah, bottom 20 because of pitch cards, yeah. So I guess that is probably statistically unlikely. Oh, we're still not drawing into it. Brutal. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit rough. I think 3-Oak would have helped. Did we pitch a 3-Oak at this game at any point this game? I feel like maybe. So what is this? Or like, what are we doing in this hand? Nothing, right? We can YOLO a 0 cost off the top with Quiver, but beyond that, I think nothing much we can do. I feel like our opponent's giving us like a chance this game, though. Let's Quiver. All right, go the tip. I found one of the 3-Oaks. Notably on like a terrible hand, but yeah, I think this is rough. So I guess we have Tunic counter coming up. Like if they have actual nothing here, maybe we're fine, but I'm kind of doubtful. We got another provoke. Sick. Oh, nasty. Love to see it. Well, at least I get to capture this on camera, which is nice. Rough. All right, we found our 3-Oaks. That's important. Rough. I mean, we needed to block there. There wasn't really much we could do, but just very funny. Yeah. So we also cannot beat anything here. So might as well just block 6. If it's another provoke, we at least play around that one. Unfortunate. All right, they got us here. It took like a... Why did it take like 5 turns for them to kill us? But anyways, I guess that's how it goes sometimes. Unfortunate that our 3 oaks both got provoked. Brutal. Brutal. Okay. Let's... we've been doing it for 2 hours, 30 minutes. So that's probably a good point to cut it off. All right. So yeah, this is going to be at least my current Marlin build. I think there's still a lot of good ideas here. I think we're still in the expansion slot waiting room for a couple cards. But I think, like, overall, I still think the deck's pretty strong. Like, it struggles into current Gravy and Slippy, but again, we're kind of holding out a little bit of hope for the September 1st BNR. Maybe those decks get reduced in power a little bit, and then maybe Marlin has a chance to shine. Definitely saw some of the rougher matchups today, I'd say. Like, Fatigue Yarl, I think, was pretty rough, although we didn't really finish that game, so who knows. We might have actually been fine that game. And then Dory definitely is a bit rough if you sideboard wrong. But yeah, other than that, I think this deck's still really good. Like, we beat Jude on camera, which is important. And yeah, I think that the overall game plan here is really strong. Just kind of like tweaking some cards. One of the cards I was still, I think I might have mentioned this earlier, but one of the cards I was considering was like Red Saltwater Swell. I've tried that out with the Loan Sharks, and that's also felt like really good. But yeah, this is a pretty solid deck. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk with chat, just to kind of like end the stream, see if anyone has anything to say. But yeah, thank you all for stopping by. And yeah, we're probably gonna sign off in a minute here though. But yeah, unfortunate RNG on the end. I think that's to be expected though with Marlin. Yep, but thank you all for stopping by. Oh, but yeah, I just do like this deck a lot. I think the hero is nice. Yeah, see ya. But yeah, I think she still just like needs like 1 or 2 more cards just to be good. Like, even like a ranger buff or something that like disincentivizes D-reacts heavier than like increase and release the tension would also be quite nice. I think that could be like a pretty good one as well. All right, but yeah, thank you all for stopping by. Yep, I'll see you all around.